Hi, Diego. Great to see you.
Hey, good to see you too.
I'm really excited to be talking to you because we now have Pachama projects available on the Joro app for anyone to buy into. And we were really excited to be able to offer the forestry projects that have been verified by Pachama as a higher quality project than what might be available otherwise. And I'd love if you could talk a little bit about the Peru project that we picked.
For sure. And we're so excited also to be working with you guys. As you know, Pachama focuses on using the latest remote sensing technologies, satellite images, LiDAR data, and artificial intelligence to validate and monitor the claims of the forest projects that have received carbon credits. And we are working with projects across the Americas that are either conserving primary forests that provide a lot of carbon capture every year, or reforestation projects or improved forest management projects. All these projects are projects in which the forest is capturing carbon, and these projects have received certification by the international certification bodies such as VCS or American Carbon Registry and so forth. And our work is to bring more clarity, more visibility about their impact, and continue monitoring for the purpose of helping the project developer better protect those lands, and for the buyers of those credits to be able to see the impact that they're having with their contributions to carbon capture. And the project in particular that you guys have chosen to include in your platform is an incredible project in the Amazon rainforest of Peru. It's an area that is one of the biggest hotspots of biodiversity in the Amazon rainforest. And this project in particular has the characteristic that it has a big community impact as well. There's um, a community that benefits from the Brazil nuts, which is the nuts that trees on this area produce. And in a very sustainable way, they take those nuts, they process them, and that's a source of income for these communities that now make money from the forest and not from cutting down the forest, as it happens in other parts of the Amazon rainforest. And this project is one of the first projects of these characteristics in that area of Peru that is helping hundreds of people in these communities and conserving thousands of hectares and capturing hundreds of thousands of tons of CO2.
We're so excited to have the project on the platform now. So it's available for one-time offsets for subscriptions. Users can go into the app on the Take Action page and find the project. And I'm curious, Diego, what got you into sustainability and carbon in the first place? What took you to starting Pachama?
Sure. Well, I grew up in Argentina, in the north of Argentina, in an area near a forest called La Yunga. My grandparents had houses in the forest. And so I grew up very connected to nature, loving animals and plants and trees. So yeah, kind of naturally an environmentalist. Then life led me to different roads as I went into the world to do my master's in Barcelona, then came to the US, decided to become an entrepreneur in the technology world, and kind of like lost my track on environmentalism. But in a way, I think that I was basically going to develop the skills that I needed to then come back to the roots of what I truly love and make a contribution there. So after my last company exited, I decided to take some time off to see what I was going to do next. And knowing that I had developed the skills on how to build teams, how to develop new technologies, and how to raise venture capital, I wanted to put that at the service of what I cared for the most, which is our planet. You know, how are we gonna protect our planet in front of these big challenges that we have today? Climate change is the challenge of our generation. Today we're navigating the crisis of coronavirus, but this is just a very small wake-up call of what can happen to civilization if we don't act in front of these very life-threatening challenges that we have in front of us. So that's how I decided to start this company.
That's great. I think it's been so interesting. We've met in the Bay Area now, seeing this space of climate tech emerge. It's amazing to see people rise to the challenge of recognizing the the potential impact of the climate crisis, and people from all walks of life with all different backgrounds and skills coming to think about how they can be useful in the space. Now, as you mentioned, obviously the world is going to look different in the next 5 years than what we expected. What do you think when you think about what's going to happen in the next 5 years? What are some of the things at the intersection of climate and corona that you think maybe might accelerate as a result of both of these trends? That's something I've been thinking about a lot too.
Yeah, good question. Well, I think that everybody will demand corporations to take their role as global players, right? Today, many corporations are more impactful and influential than governments, right? And the same way that corporations can help now people in front of coronavirus, I think people will demand corporations to act in front of climate change. And so the bar continues rising in terms of what is demanded from good citizens of the world in terms of corporate behavior. And this is something that was already unfolding, with BlackRock CEO sending a letter to all their companies, with tens of thousands of employees in Silicon Valley demanding their companies to act on climate change. So I expect to see people demanding their corporations and governments to protect them in front of these challenges. And of course, it's everyone's responsibility, and that's the cool thing about Joro. Anybody can act, but we will see. I expect a higher sense of the responsibility that we have for humanity in the 21st century. Right? We are all interconnected. That is becoming super clear with coronavirus, and there is not one single entity that can take responsibility. So it's about everyone's collective action. And I think that I hope that this is something that becomes clear and people demand more of.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that sense of shared purpose is maybe the most powerful and positive thing that's coming out of this crisis, and a recognition that it's no single player alone, but the government and business and people are working together. That's really powerful. I've also been thinking about how important public space and nature is, and hopefully people will
Yes.
appreciate that more. I think as a natural, the value of natural resources in our lives is becoming more present. So I think that will also be something we look to value more. So thank you so much. We're really excited. Anyone can head over to our website or to the Joro app to check out the new Peru forestry project from Pachama and send us your thoughts. Thanks. Thanks, Diego.
Excited.